So I'm wondering, do you have a feel for what the range, at least for the inward facing occluded structure, which is the only structure you know about, although when you're measuring affinities, which conformation you likely to be detecting, because it's really the difference in affinities for different conformations that constitutes the mechanism. Right? Anyway, what kind of concentration range do you think, or KD range, which is equivalent to concentration range for the
looking at
transport?
human CN33 and its transportability of the modified gemcitabine compound, how it doesn't really transport it at all.
So that's an upper limit of about 3 millimolar, probably, right?
Yeah.
Now what you got for that?
Well, we didn't measure it for the human transport.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, but on your person.
Yeah. So we think that what I was trying to get at before is that there could be differential binding affinities for. Go back to that figure. For different conformations of the structure. So this nuclear pocket's not going to be present, based on our model, it's not going to be present in the outward facing conformation because the nucleoside binding site is going to move up above TM6, up here somewhere. So we thought about if you can utilize certain structural features that, we think that the major interactions of the nucleoside binding site are going to be similar in both the outward and inward facing states. But if you can utilize regions like this nuclear pocket that are only present in one state, you can try to design a compound that has differential affinities for both the outward and inward facing states and try to make something that binds better in the outward facing state but binds worse in the inward facing state that could help to enhance transportability.
Yeah, it just seems like the differential affinities are almost as important as,
for sure.
more important than the absolute affinities.
But for something like uridine, we think that the only interactions that we observe in uridine are probably going to be also present in the outward facing state if it actually adopts that rigid body conformational change that was seen in the other transporters, because those other transporters maintain similar interactions between substrate and protein in both the outward and inward facing states.
So what do you think the functional range of KDs, the range of functional KDs might be?
I think if you get too low, like in the sub-micromolar range, you're going to be binding too tightly.
And the upper limit, maybe?
Probably the 2 millimolar range. Maybe.
So 3 orders of magnitude affinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That it would be functional over that range.
Yeah.
Similar to sodium gradient is about 120. The conversion to concentration gradient of the ligand or substrate so within thousands.
So what is the concentration of uridine in human?
Depends on where you are, but it's usually like little micromolar, like in the 1 to 10 micromolar range. So it's sub KD.
But close to.
Yeah.
Roughly what you're seeing. And I was just curious about your F366 tyrosine mutation. So that didn't work very well.
Yeah, which is
That's
surprising.
yeah, it is surprising.
Very surprising.
But if you has space there.
It could be that because of the it comes in at an angle, right? And you're adding a hydroxyl. It could just be displacing it. I want to show the figure again. So if you put a hydroxyl up here, it's going to bump into the side. So that was kind of surprising. I mean, structurally it kind of makes sense, but usually you can replace phenylalanine with tyrosine, and it can still form similar interactions, like high-pi interactions.
It seemed that during the drug design kind of aspect that enhancing this pi-pi interaction was a good thing, and that displacing that water on the other end, where I think there was a glue or an asp, was a bad thing. But what if you combined, or maybe thought of it, combine the two things where you enhance the pi by adding a fluoro instead of the 3-carbon thing, but then also adding something longer that extends over to take the place of that water and maybe even add like an electrostatic interaction to that.
Yeah, so I mean the effects of all the different interactions are additive. We think, especially in our So like with gemcitabine, so going from cytidine to gemcitabine, we're disrupting the interactions here at this 2' position and significantly decreasing the binding affinity. So we can compensate for that by modifying a different region of the transport, or of the nucleoside. So, yeah, I mean, we can look at a few different regions of the nucleoside and try to strengthen interactions with different parts to really make it bind tightly.
And then how far away is the calcium site from the nucleoside binding site?
I want to say like in the 5-inch, like 6-inch range.
So I was kind of curious if there were any sort of fragment-based molecules that you could see that bind to the calcium site. And then obviously you've got the nucleoside that binds where it does, and then sort of link the two together and potentially trap it in the outward versus inward kind of deal.
Yeah, that could be possible. I'll have to look into trying that out.
If you run a sodium gradient backwards, can you get it to transport nucleoside in the opposite direction?
Yeah, it's bidirectional. I mean, we don't talk about it being bidirectional because physiologically it's always an inward-facing sodium gradient. But you can, so the thing about this proteoliposome assay is that the transporter is going to be reconstituted about 50% in the correct orientation and then 50% upside down. And we think that it should be able to transport both directions if you have both nucleoside and sodium gradients facing into the proteoliposome.
Is there anything known about the structure of the equilibrate transporters?
No. It's something that we would like to also work on. Yeah. Working very hard on. But there's not very much sequence energy between the concentrated and equilibrated that they're expected to adopt significantly different folds.
Okay, no further questions?